inside prisons and penitentiaries. Did you know? He was never an inmate. He got his love for this when he was asked to be the opening entertainment for the prison rodeo shows down south here. And in 1968, he went to the record company and he asked if he thought it was a good idea for Columbia Records if he recorded a live album inside Folsom Prison. And they said, "Man, that's not a good idea." And he said, "I thought you might say that." So I went ahead and bought the equipment, and I've already talked to all the players, and we're going to go do it. And if you don't like the way the tapes come out, you can pitch them. Well, they didn't pitch them, did they?
Of course not.
That album became one of the largest selling live albums in the world today, and it was recorded live January 13th, 1968. So the very next year, he decided to do it again in a little bit more dangerous penitentiary called San Quentin. This is what my mother would call a glutton for punishment. You can't keep fooling around in these prisons, you know. Expect nothing to happen. Well, nothing happened. Two very neat things did, though, and I'll tell you. He decided to perform a song for the very first time, something special for those inmates. One in particular, you may remember his name. He became a fairly popular country singer. His name was Merle Haggard, right? He was an inmate. I don't know what he did to get in there, but I know he said when he got out that he was going to become a country singer and change his ways, and he did, didn't he? He became one of our country's leading country singer-songwriters of our time. But back to this story. Johnny Cash sat down with a sheet of lyrics and he sang this song just one time. Didn't think too much about it. And a program director from Nashville's Hot 100 radio station heard it. He thought it'd go pretty good on the radio, and it did. So if you've ever heard this song, just remember, it was only recorded that one time, probably the version you've heard. Performed that one day inside that very dangerous penitentiary called San Quentin. But it was a funny little tune. He called it A Boy Named Sue. Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to mold me. Just his old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Now, I don't blame him because he running hit, but the meanest thing that he ever did was, well, before he left, he went and named a suit. Well, he must have thought it was quite a joke. You see, he got a lot of laughs from a lot of folks. Seems I had to fight my whole life through. Some guy would giggle and I get real. Some guy laugh my bust his head, I'll tell you. Life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. Well, I grew up quick and I grew up mean, and my fists got hard and my wits got keen. Roamed from town to town to hide my shame. But I made me a vow to the moon and stars. I'd search all them honky-tonks and bars. I'd have to kill the man that gave me that awful name. Well, it was Gatlinburg, mid-July, not just in town. My throat was dry, thought I'd stop and have myself a brew. I had an old saloon on a street of mud. There at a table dealing stud sat the dirty mangy dog that named his Sue. Well, I knew that snake was my own sweet dad from a worn-out picture that my mother had. Knew that scar in his cheek and his evil eye. Well, he was big and bent, gray and old, and I looked at him and my blood ran cold, and I said, "My name is Sue. How do you do? Not today, you're gonna die." That's what I told him. So I hit him hard right between the eyes. He went down, but to my surprise, he come up with a knife and he cut off a piece of my ear. Well, I smashed a chair right across his teeth. We knocked to the wall into the street. We were kicking, the gouging the mud, the blood and the beer. Now I tell you, I fought tougher men, but I just can't remember when. He kicked like a mule and he bit me like a crocodile. Well, I heard him laugh and then I heard him cuss. He went for his gun, but I pulled mine first, and he stood there looking at me. That's when I saw him smile. He said, "Son, world's rough. Man's gonna make it, he's gotta be tough. I know I wasn't gonna be there to help you along. So I give you that name, I said goodbye. I knew you'd either have to get tough or die. It's the name that helps make you strong. just fought one hell of a fight. I know you hate me and you've got the right to kill me now. Wouldn't blame me if you do. But you ought to thank me before I die for the gravel in the guts and the spit in your eye. I'm the son of a bitch that named you Sue. Well, what could I do? What was I gonna do now? Look, I got all choked up and I threw down my gun and I called him my paw and he called me a son. Come away, different point of view. I think about him every now and then. Every time I try, every time I win. And you know, I was just standing here thinking, I guess if I was to ever have a son, I'd go ahead and name him Bill or George. Any damn thing but Sue. I Thank you, brother. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for the tips. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.